So, folks, we need to talk about a Prager U video. Specifically, what does America First really mean? Presented by none other than the world's least interesting man who's convinced he's the world's most interesting man.
There's a growing segment of the American right that believes the U.S. should surrender its status as the sole global superpower and enter into a power-sharing relationship with other major powers, most notably China. America,
I do just want to point out, we already do that. This isn't like oh, well, some people believe that the United States should do this, but we think they shouldn't. No, we are already doing this. We do? Yeah, we have crazy trade ties to China. Like a crazy amount of trade going between the United States and China. And on top of that, they're a nuclear power. They are a modern force. A lot of the country is rural, but they are doing some of the most cutting-edge research on the planet. This isn't me, by the way, being like, rah, rah, I love Chinese authoritarianism, go CCP. Like, no. But what I am saying is that, like, functionally right now, this is already what happens. We have trade agreements, we have understandings with China. Like, China is doing its own, like, essentially neoliberal imperialism, exerting soft power across the globe with its Belt and Road Initiative. They're building up islands in the South China Sea in order to use as military bases. Like, they're doing a lot of shit right now. And, like, we trade with them anyway. We have a lot of informal and formalized agreements with China. Also, we couldn't beat Iran. You guys think we could beat China right now? No. Like, the reason the United States and China don't go to war is largely because they're both nuclear powers.
thinking goes, cannot continue to dominate the world and should not. Cannot because we lack the financial and military wherewithal. Should not because we supposedly lack the moral authority. If this sounds like a leftist critique of America, it is. For the left...
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's not really about, like, Trump and... the China sitting down and being like, yes, let's come to an agreement. Let's make a deal. Like, no, we're talking about how things functionally are.
America's primary export is capitalist greed.
Oh, also, the guy doing this is Jeremy Boring, the guy who helped run the Daily Wire with Ben Shapiro.
Wet-ass P-word. P-word is female genitalia.
Along with oppression and patriarchy, which they claim our Christian society imposes on the noble people of the world. For the dissident,
I'm real sorry.
Export is capitalist greed, along with oppression and patriarchy, which...
This isn't even an accurate portrayal of what the left believes about the United States. Like, this is actually like cartoon world logic.
They claim our Christian society imposes on the noble people of the world.
No, the leftist critique of American foreign policy is that America engages in modern-day colonialism by subjugating nations, overturning governments that are democratically elected, meddling in the foreign affairs of other nations in order to achieve the best market results for American corporations. That's not exporting American greed, that's imperialism. Like, we're not talking about, like, abstract concepts like we export crime. No, we're talking about the foreign policy of the United States is explicitly imperial in nature. It's why George Lucas based the empire off of America.
For the dissident right, America's primary export is sexual license, along with global homogenization. They call it globo-homo.
Okay. So the left believes America's exporting greed, and the right believes that America is exporting the globo-homo agenda. Out of curiosity, where can I find these globos and homos? Where can I find them? We were just talking about Hooters for all in America? Is that, when we talk about globo homo, does that mean 2 globos for every homo? I wasn't expecting this terminology slop to hit us so hard.
Which they claim our post-Christian society imposes on the noble people of the world. And both believe the enormous resources deployed to maintain America's leadership around the globe would be better spent at home. The left's position is that American decline and withdrawal from its perch atop the global order will lead to a more equitable world. The dissident right's position embraces a spheres of influence approach to global politics, wherein America focuses geographically on the Western Hemisphere. China.
Yeah, which I do want to stress is just it's just the Monroe Doctrine. Like, you just resurrected it for like we're gonna just do 1800s style imperialism. Cool.
China on the east, Russia in Europe, and Iran in the Middle East. It isn't hard to miss the irony that the dissident right proponents of this multipolar foreign policy love to cloak themselves in the term America first, when in fact the policy they're pursuing is America tied. By the way, when you go from first place
kinky
to tied, you're losing. Both of these perspectives on multipolarity are either naive about or deliberately run cover for a fundamental truth.
Wait a minute. If 2 people finish a race at the same time, does that mean they lost the race? I don't think that's necessarily the case.
Truth. In the contest between great powers, there is no sharing. Not for long, anyway. During the Cold War, 2 superpowers contended for dominance, the United States and the Soviet Union. The 2 powers represented 2 completely distinct sets of values. The US represented the West, with its traditions reaching back through Rome and Athens and Jerusalem.
Oh, God.
They even award people for pushing the Globo Homo agenda. The Golden Globo Homo Awards are given every year in Hollywood.
I love the Golden Globe. I love the Golden Globo Homos. I always wonder who's gonna win. Will it be Sabrina Carpenter this year? Probably. Will it be hosted by Kermit the Frog? One of the #1 Globo Homos? Of course. But, like, I love the idea, by the way, that part of the reason they do this, by the way, that, like, America has traditions going all the way back to Athens and Jerusalem, is because they want to make America seem much older and more established than it actually is. Like, they're making an appeal to like, as far back as they feel like they can get away with. The real history of America was written 7,000 years ago. And, like, but second, it's because they're often talking about China that actually does have a history that goes back that far. But Ben Shapiro, I think, wrote a book about how the history of the United States is Athens and Jerusalem, and it's basically nonsense.
The West is democratic, representative, and concerned with the rights of the individual. The West is Christian, or at least it's a product of Christians. Its values are premised on belief in God and are derived from the Bible. The Soviets represented something entirely different. The not West, totalitarian, collectivist, and explicitly hostile to faith in God.
Okay, real quick, can anyone spot the problem with this graph already? Can anyone, like, maybe put together 2 things that are completely at odds with one another in this picture? The whole graph is a problem. The orange baby. I mean, the orange baby would be a problem. You cannot have a society that's both totalitarian and collectivist. Those 2 things are at odds with one another. Like, a collectivist society would be one that, makes a decision based on, the people in the community. As opposed to a totalitarian society which, has one guy making all the choices. These are very at odds with one another.
These values couldn't coexist, and they didn't. In the great contest between nations, in the competition between states for wealth and power and influence, there ultimately had to be a winner and a loser. And fortunately for the world, America won. Bipolarity had its advantages, of course. Having an existential enemy does a lot to clarify one's mission. Since the collapse of the Soviet Union...
One's mission? yeah, having an enemy that you're locked in a seemingly existential struggle with would clarify things, because if you lose, you die. But also, you don't need that.
America's belief in the righteousness of its values has diminished. Where we once saw our national creed as a calling, liberty and justice as causes worth defending and promoting, now we're unsure. We've replaced patriotism with skepticism. Is America exceptional? Is America even good?
I love the idea that you can't, like patriotism and skepticism can't coexist. For this guy, it's one or the other. People, like he's implying here, people should not ask these questions. Is America good? Is America exceptional? I would argue people should ask those questions. It is good to question your beliefs in order to strengthen your positions.
This self-doubt is driven on the left by the fact that America doesn't always live up to its values, and on the right by the perceived domestic cost of pursuing its values beyond American shores, flying pride flags over our Middle East embassies while elected leaders ignore or worse, deny the decline of our communities plagued by crime, inflation, homelessness, and failing schools.
Just real quick, chat, I love this. As if what flag is being flown above a U.S. embassy, which I want to stress would still be U.S. soil. You can't care about that and crime, inflation, homelessness, and failing schools. You have to choose, chat. Pride flags over embassies or crime, inflation, homelessness, and failing schools. Those are your choices. Do you want the flags or do you want all of the problems of society to be fixed? It's one or the other for some reason. I reject the premise of the question.
Schools. A significant percentage on both sides argue it's time for America to pivot, to turn its attention homeward and to say to hell with the rest of the world. But before we decide the whole enterprise hasn't been worth it, we should ask what we got in return. American hegemony has been responsible for the most extraordinary run of relative peace and prosperity in the history of human civilization. It bought the financial leverage to sanction adversaries into submission without firing a shot. Freedom of the seas and
Well, that hasn't really been panning out recently, has it?
technological advances. No.
I also just love all of these things are no longer the case, right? Like the financial leverage was because we were able to, cut deals and basically make the petrodollar. We were able to fabricate an entirely new basis for world currency on the premise of the dollar, the value of a US dollar. And we did this through a combination of the Marshall Plan and, diplomacy. And obviously, like, imperial might. Freedom of the seas, similarly, an application of imperial might. However, worth noting that the people who destroyed it are currently in the White House. Donald Trump has destroyed freedom of movement in on the sea. The whole Strait of Hormuz situation has permanently disrupted freedom of movement on the seas. You got the folks in Yemen closing off the Bab el-Mandeb Strait. You've got China looking at closing down freedom of movement around their shores. And kind of seems like Donald Trump personally destroyed that one. And when it comes to technological advances, there are so many technological advances being made all around the world all the time. But right now, a lot of advances are coming out of China, specifically because the guy in the White House slashed funding to tons and tons of research projects in the United States. I genuinely don't think conservatives understand that Trump's stupid fucking tariffs have caused global supply chains to shift away from the US. No, they don't understand. They don't get it. They do not understand. But that's always been the case, right? Like, the left started talking about a Green New Deal to bring green manufacturing to the United States, to basically resurrect all of the towns that had relied on factories to manufacture things and give people livable wage jobs. And Republicans took that and said, that's stupid. We don't want to revive manufacturing in the United States for stupid batteries and stupid solar and wind. No, that's dumb and gay. we have to use oil and gas like real men. And they've suicided like our ability to both manufacture things domestically and also invent new things and embrace new things. Like China has invented now like a 30-year battery. Like it's crazy. Just like real quick, this was just one thing that stood out to me. China's nuclear battery breakthrough, a 50-year power source that becomes copper. Basically, a new nuclear type of nuclear battery that lasts for a very long time. That's just one. The one I was thinking of, though, that was the wrong battery. Here's the one I was thinking of. China unveils breakthrough carbon-14 nuclear battery capable of running for thousands of years. The ultra-efficient prototype requires less fuel than its predecessors, paving the way for decades of maintenance-free power in medical implants and aerospace gear. I don't know, guys. That's crazy. It has it uses carbon-14 as its power source and fuel source, which means it will literally last for around 5,700 years. That's pretty fucking cool. Or, let's take a quick look at this. This is the real shit, by the way. New sodium metal battery design charges in just 4 minutes and retains its capacity for years. Chinese researchers say they've overcome one of the trickiest problems in battery chemistry by developing a special gel. This is cool. Like, America could be doing this shit, but we just haven't invested in any of it. This, by the way, is scalable, and it is not, in fact, based on a lithium-ion design. It's, in fact, based on sodium metal, which means that it's not going to fucking explode, which is great. To confirm the longevity of this approach, the scientists charged and discharged the battery for over 6,000 hours without dendrites short-circuiting the battery. They also noted that when they charged the battery from 0 to 100% capacity in just 4 minutes, it retained electrical charge measured in blah, 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 blah. This is the equivalent of around half that retained in lithium-ion batteries. When charged at a slightly slower rate of 100% in 20 minutes, the battery retained 90% of its charge capacity over 2,000 cycles, matching the theoretical limits for lithium-ion batteries. This is notable because scientists achieved this in the new battery while still charging it quicker than lithium-ion batteries can be charged. This is relevant because charging speeds remain a sticking point for battery deployment in electric vehicles. The fastest charging EV today is the BYD Denza, which the Chinese auto manufacturer says can go from 10 to 70% in just 5 minutes, but this requires highly specialized 1 megawatt proprietary chargers. Most EVs charge slower. Tesla representatives say its Model 3 can recharge from 10 to 70% in approximately 15 minutes using Tesla's own flash chargers, but representatives from EV routing platform ZapMap say the same vehicle will take 90 minutes to charge at an 80% on 50 kilowatt chargers. So basically, long story short, it's a more stable battery that lasts longer, that charges faster, and is also scalable. That's pretty fucking cool. And instead of using a rare resource like lithium, it uses sodium. That's neat. And like, this is just something I care about because I think battery tech has been really neglected as a field of research. I just think it's really neat. But like, it's frustrating when we hear these clowns talk about technology as if America is still top dog in that regard. There are some really powerful research powerhouses out there that are not the United States.
No other country could match. The price of this once-in-human history era of peace and prosperity is strength, and strength is expensive both in blood and treasure. And it isn't just the requirements of our military. What we call foreign aid isn't charity. It's the price of influence. It's what we pay to keep other countries in our orbit instead of Beijing's or Moscow's. Not every dollar is well spent, just like not every military action is wise. Not every deal is a good one. Some of it's waste. Some of it's worse than waste. There's a reason people are tired of it. It deserves scrutiny and reform. But the alternative, ceding that influence to powers who seek the West's and especially America's destruction, is not a savings. It's a surrender. And American surrender is not America first. I'm Jeremy Boring for Prager University.
Also worth noting that America First has a long and storied tradition here in America that predates how modern Republicans are using it. But a certain set of people in the United States did believe in America First and did use the slogan America First for a long time. They also believed that the West was a product of Christianity, and they also believed that, the United States shouldn't be meddling in global affairs, and also shouldn't be doing charity, and also should have a strong and vibrant military of predominantly white men. They're, it's not like that phrase came out of nowhere, is all I'm saying. And it kind of seems like there's an awful lot of overlap between that Jeremy Boring fellow and these strange individuals in the hoods. But, just a little bit of an observation. All that being said, folks, if you got anything out of this, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that follow button, and drop those subs, donos, memberships, super chats, because you guys make this show possible. I could not do it without you fine folks. And also, get organized. Join your local Dems, join your local DSA. If you need help, you can join our Discord. Reach out to GamerG for help with DSA. Reach out to Dragonfly for help with your local Dems. Folks, getting organized is the only way we beat these clowns. Getting organized is the only way we beat the Jeremy Borings of the world. Because, they got money, we got people. All that being said, last but not least, check out ImogeneOlivia.com. Gender euphoric lingerie designed from the ground up for trans femmes. Tested with cis men, cis women, non-binary folks. It is comfortable, sexy, non-tucking lingerie. And you know what? I'm wearing it right now. It's very great. It's my go-to set. Go check it out. ImogeneOlivia.com. Link down in the description. Let's keep on going.
Riverboat Jack is coming to town. All the viewers gather round. Twitch and YouTube is where she streams. All that content is bursting the seams. Politics, gaming, and plenty more. Her sense of fashion you'll adore. So grab your stuff and hop aboard. We're going straight to Jack's Discord.